Now, the very first time I was aware that there was even such a person as Sadie Skellin within UCW was when I attempted to work with a differently enabled person, right? Now, it's one of my strong things, right? I hate the bigotry that the word disabled conjures up in society. I call them differently enabled people. I attempted on 3 occasions to work with differently enabled people within UCW, and that's when I first came across the roadblock that is Sadie Skellin. Now, I'm not saying this as a matter of conjecture, right? I've got the emails, I've got the statements, I've got the minutes from meetings where she says that me working with differently enabled people, well, she calls them disabled people because she's a condescending bitch, but working with differently enabled people would have been controversial and not what the university wanted. So let's look at this for a moment now. There's 3 particular people that I wanted to work with. Now there's a gentleman called Disabled Kev, he goes by the name of, and he, believe it or not, right, was doing his masters in performance art as a differently enabled or disabled person. I'll maybe put up a video of him or something like that. But you know, that was blocked. That was like, oh no, that's no, we can't do that at UCW. And my answer to that is, why not? Isn't university supposed to be about pushing barriers back? Whether it's about the bigotry involved with disabled people, whether it's about the arrogance of misandry, whatever it is about, isn't university the place to take a stance? Now, I'm pretty sure when I first went to university, right, you were challenging things, you were doing things, you know, you weren't limited to taking selfies down the beach or lovely little photographs of flowers and, oh, you know, just keep it safe. No, I don't keep it safe. I believe firmly in the affirmation of differently enabled people. So I wanted to work with them, and UCW said no. So that was the first time. The second time I worked with a lady, or I attempted to work with a lady, with, now, there's no way, but she lost an arm. But rather than let that get her down, she runs a company that provides extras and things like that for disaster scenarios. Now, I'm sure you've seen videos of reenactments of underground tube station accidents or bombings and stuff like that. Well, she runs a very successful company supplying people like that, and she approached me and I got talking to her, and to be honest with you, she is one of the most inspirational people that I've ever talked to in my life, right? She outweighs the staid, boring, self-pitying people that work quite often at UCW, and I was amazed with her and I wanted to work with her, and I discussed it with my tutors and I got thumbs down. No, wait, oh, we used to do that, something like that, but oh no, we wouldn't want to do that now. You know, and I'm calling bullshit on that, right? I am calling bullshit with a capital B. That is ridiculous. The third occasion was I wanted to work with a model who had broken her back in a horse fall. Now, this young lady was a figure model, right? She'd previously been a figure model. She'd broken her back and she was fighting her demons. You know, this hadn't happened 20 years ago. This was relatively new, and I wanted to work with her. So I did all the stuff, and I discussed it with my tutor, or my tutors, I should say. And it came back from the desk of Sadie Skellin, oh no, Douglas must be shooting porn. Don't let him, stop him, whatever you do. Now, to be quite honest, I'd had enough, right? This pissed me off, right? Both the fact that I was being accused of shooting porn, because like, what the hell are you talking about, women? I had laid out what I'd wanted to do, and it always came back from the desk of Sadie Skellin saying, oh no, he's shooting porn, we've got to stop him. I wasn't going to shoot porn, I was never going to shoot porn. I wanted to empower somebody who had a physical problem, i.e. a fractured spine, and also somebody that was fighting the demons of, you know, people that have had serious life-changing injuries like that, have psychological issues that You know, you've got to try to empower people, because otherwise society will shit on them, right? And I'm sorry to use the word like that, but hey, that's why I talk, right? And society has a way of looking down at people who are differently enabled and saying, well, you're second or third or fourth class citizens. Well, I don't, right? I absolutely empower people no matter what, right? I look for what they're struggling with and I try and give them a helping hand. You do that, right? I hope it's in shot. You put your hand out and help people, and that's what I was trying to do with that. And I had every barrier put in front of me by UCW and Sadie Skellin, right? Now that upset me on many, many levels, right? And I would, you know, to start with, and I didn't lose the rug, but I was quite adamant about it. But to start with, I said, right, okay, you're putting barriers up. I'm going to dismantle every single barrier. For instance, I'd asked for a closed set while I was shooting, because the studio and everything like that in Weston is an open set. Anybody could open the door. So I says, right, how I want to solve this is I want to put up a cover a few feet inside the door so that somebody walking in doesn't immediately see somebody, because this woman was quite happy to get out of her wheelchair, and I really don't know what your sensibilities are, right? I have had a partner in a wheelchair, and to the uninitiated and the people that are easily shocked by certain images, a person without the use of their legs on the floor, maybe dragging themselves across the floor or something like that, could be a bit, whoa, you know. So I asked simply for a sheet, you know, just a muslin sheet or something like that, a few feet inside the door, so that if we heard the door open, we could shout, whoa, hold on a minute, maybe get her back in the chair, get her whatever, right? That's what I asked for. I was then accused of asking for locked doors, because clearly I was planning to shoot pornography. And I'm thinking, you know, no, that's what I'm asking for, you know. And I went back and forward, and every barrier they gave, I dismantled in a logical and polite manner. I said, no, I'm not shooting pornography, I'm wanting to empower somebody and everything like that. Nothing still, and I'm back and forward. I asked to be trained in the use of something called the striker chair. Now, for those that are not acquainted with it, a striker chair is the evacuation device, so that if I was in the studio, which is on the first floor of the building, and a fire alarm went off, or a fire drill happened, or something happened, you need to get somebody out quickly. If you've got two legs and you could use them, run like the clappers, you know. But I take my position as the person who was employing this model and as the photographer in charge of the shoot very, very seriously. It's my responsibility to get them out if there was a problem, you know, and not some janitor who might be more concerned about a 15-year-old that's having a panic attack in a bog or something like that. I would get her out, and one of the ways to get them out is a striker chair. You clip somebody into the chair, you get them downstairs quickly, you get them out to safety. I've used similar devices because I am a trained evacuation personnel from when I was a nurse. Because in those days, as a nurse, I was a male at the time, well, not a male at the time, still a male now, lovey-dovey, but as one of the few male nurses at the time, we were trained to work with the fire brigade in evacuation drills and stuff like that. But equipment moves on, and I just wanted, no, you can't get that, that's for the janitors, that's for trained personnel. Well, I've got news for you guys, I'm more trained than you guys ever will be. Right, I've done it for real. I've been in burning buildings, I've evacuated people, I have worked closely with fire brigades and stuff like that on evacuation. So, you know, I'm sorry, your attitude sucks. So, again, this went back and forth, and eventually, unfortunately, my model, who was aware of this, because I am a pretty honest guy, and I'm saying, well, you know, she's going, I thought we were doing this on Tuesday, why aren't we doing it? And I'm saying, well, I'm sorry, the university are being dicks, they're saying this, they're saying that. And she had an anxiety attack, and I says, right, fair enough, we'll call it quits. But from my perspective, UCW deliberately obstructed working with differently enabled people. That is hideous. And guess whose name is on the bottom of all the barricades that were put up? Sadie Skellin. She admitted in an interview on the 27th of March 2019 that it was going to be too controversial. And like I say, that is disgusting. It really, I know you might think I'm being a bit facetious when I say that, but it is fucking outrageous the way that those three people were treated by UCW. And I will never ever forgive them for the way that they treated differently enabled people. Other universities work openly and frankly with people with different needs and different agendas and disabilities, as you people want to call them, and things like that. But no, not UCW. They are the absolute personification of just pricks. And I'm sorry to get upset, because I am upset, because as I said, I had a partner in a wheelchair, and it really fucks me off when people put themselves in a position saying, oh no, keep disabled people in the corner where they belong. And that's exactly what Sadie, Skellen and UCW did.